welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a reading for Cancer, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the mid-month, so from the 15th to the 29th of February. It's going to be shorter than monthly readings because it's designed more to be just an energetic snapshot. See where you are right now, what's coming towards you, and offer some advice, which you are free to take or leave as you please. If you're after any information, have a look in the description box because the chances are I've put it, whatever you might need down in there already. So, with that said, sorry for leaving you till last. I don't usually do that with Cancer. But let's see, where is Cancer right now? Where is Cancer right now? A lot of flippers and no jumpers. There we are. There's the first one. 5 of Pentacles. That's tricky. It's a difficult strength, difficult energy to be sat in. Ace of Swords and the King of Pentacles. Interesting. Right. May or may not be relevant. It seems like you're going through a bit of a trying time at the moment, Cancer. 2 more cards for Cancer, please. Where is Cancer right now? 6 of Pentacles. 1 more card for Cancer. And the 7 of Pentacles. That's really interesting. At the bottom of the deck now that we've got the 9 of Swords, and that talks about depression, it talks about grief, it talks about insomnia, it talks about being in a bad place in your head, overthinking quite often as well. It's being stuck in a situation that's keeping you awake at night is what that is. But why I think what's interesting, what's come out is interesting, is because we've got a 5, a 6 and a 7. There's a process here going on. We'll deal with them in turn. And they're all Pentacles as well. So it could be that this is to do with work. It could be that it's to do with just your general material circumstances. It's your bills, it's your job, it's resources. And what's going on in your resources is not cool at the moment, right? The 5s talk about change, uncomfortable change, usually. Shut that window. Forgot I left it open. Right. Because it's Pentacles and it talks about resources, it talks about a shift, right? And this can be an actual shift or it can be a perceived shift. And it talks about poverty, right, of any description. So that could be financial poverty. You could be really struggling to feed yourself and pay your bills at the moment. Or it could be, emotional resources. It could be, having an emotional safety net around you of friends and colleagues and people who will support you. Or it could be something that you're lacking from your partner. All of those things are indicated by the 5 of Pentacles. It can be a fear of it can be abandonment as well, like feeling left out in the cold. You hear that a lot with this card. They're out in the snow around the church. And I hear a lot of people saying, like, if only they turned around, they would see that assistance is behind them, gleaming, like that. Fuck that. They're in a churchyard at night in the snow. Are you telling me that they haven't seen that window is illuminated? For me, this is being cast out of something, right? Whether that is losing your job or being isolated and abandoned by those people that you love and trust, right? That's what this card says to me. And often it can also indicate a fear of those. So it might not have actually happened, but you're really, really worried that it is going to, right? Because you're overthinking the situation. Either way, it's a really difficult energy. But then we have the 6 of Pentacles. Like, the fact that these have come out in order is absolutely astonishing to me. I've read tarot for years and stuff like this I'm always so impressed by it. Right? The 6 of Pentacles talks about balance. It talks about restoring balance because it follows on from the 5, which is the shift. It's the change in circumstances. It's an adjustment. Sometimes it can be viewed as a bit of a course correction, actually, but it rarely feels nice when it happens. This is about putting everything straight again. Notice how all the pentacles at the bottom are in a straight line. Sometimes it can indicate charity. It can indicate someone coming in and redressing the balance, such as depicted with these characters here. You know, you've got these deserving poor, and you've got this person who is clearly much better off, you know, frankly breadcrumbing them, when it's quite clear that she has much more to give than what she actually is doing. So there's a couple of different ways of looking at this. It is possible that you've got some sort of guardian angel who's come in and is helping you out with this difficult situation that you're suffering with in the Five of Pentacles. Or it's possible that you yourself are getting on top of this situation and you are the one who is helping yourself. You're the one who's restoring balance to your existence. Or there is someone who is breadcrumbing you, you know, because you're in a difficult and vulnerable position, in a difficult and vulnerable energetic state as you are here. And there's just so much fear radiating off this card. And these two cards together, you know, scream it. And they've come along in the guise of being terribly helpful, in the guise of being, you know, a guardian angel, and actually they're just taking from you, you know, because there's something about your position being where you are that is extremely helpful to them, but they don't want to invest any more than they absolutely have to. So they'll give you a breadcrumb, keep you there, stop you wandering off and finding someone who actually will help you. Like, you'll have to fill in the gaps because you know better than I, but those are what I see. And then we come to the 7, the next step, right? And this is an objective assessment of your circumstances, right? Financial or otherwise. For me, it's that point where you sit and you take a sit rep. Where are you? Where do you want to go? Yeah. You look at this tree that you've planted, you're looking at this crop that's coming out, and is it what you thought it was going to be? Is it what the packet promised you when you planted the seeds? You know, or has it come up twisted and broken and all that kind of thing? You know, it's a point where you sit and decide whether you invest further, you know, you continue to nurture the tree and hope that the crop improves, or do you divest entirely, pull the tree out, treat the soil better, you know, and then replant. It feels like you're in a period of being buffeted from one thing to the next, not really knowing which way is up at any given time, and really struggling to keep your head above water. And this tells me that you know that something needs to change, but you're not entirely sure necessarily what it is that needs to change. Maybe it's everything, maybe it's only one thing. You don't know. But there's such a swirling energy of this. It's making me feel a little bit ill, actually. And I'll bring you back to that. So, that's pretty awful, Cancer. So the Lover's card has just flipped there, which for me talks about making a choice. And then your card has also flipped to the Chariot, which is all about self-determination, self-governance, you know, driving forwards on your route, regardless of what other people have to say about it. So, what's coming towards Cancer, please, in the last 2 weeks of February? Whoa. What's coming towards Cancer? The first card we've got is the 5 of Swords. That's air energy right there, and another 5. The 10 of Wands. Fire energy, Sagittarius, strictly. One more card, please, for Cancer. It's the Knight of Wands. That's another Sagittarian card, but it only flipped, it didn't jump, so I'm not going to take it. One more card for Cancer, please. This is fucking hilarious. So, We've got the Ace of Pentacles. We've got Strength, which is the card of Leo, which is all about, you know, developing strong character off the back of adverse circumstances. And then the Chariot has flipped again. So that's interesting. One more card for Cancer, please. Three of Pentacles. Interesting. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the Seven of Swords. Right, that talks about deception. Now, it can be, you know, malignant deception. It can be someone deliberately pulling the wool over your eyes. That is possible. Or it can be self-deception, right? And whether this is you or someone else, you know, it's coming not necessarily from you know, a malign place, but it's deliberately pulling the wool over your own eyes so that you don't have to look at a situation, you know, properly, I would say. But whether that's you or someone else, we'll see in a second. I think that's you, if I'm honest. Because the first card that you've got is the Five of Swords. It's another fucking five, and like, ugh. Because it's words and it's communication, right? Sometimes this can indicate to me, because it's a shift, because it's a five, it can indicate communication breaking down, like the methods that you used to communicate before just aren't working. Whether that's like literally the method that you use, calling, texting, whatever, somebody's blocking you, or whether it's the way that you express yourself, or the way that someone expresses themselves to you. Like, this is things changing. And painfully. It can be arguments. It can be somebody who will say anything to win the argument, quite often, because we've got these two characters who've put down their swords and they fucked off because there's nothing to be gained by continuing to fight with this rather smug character at the front here who's holding three swords already. And three swords is heartbreak, right? There are two swords on the ground and they're crossed, and the way that they are crossed puts me very much in mind of the Two of Swords, which talks about needing to make an intellectual decision. I don't think that you're in the right place to make an intellectual decision at the moment because of all this swirling, panicky energy that you've got going on. Now, it's interesting that the next card you've got is the Ten of Wands, because, you know, you add a Five of Pentacles to a Five of Swords and what you get is a 10. Right, which is the end of a cycle. But this is breaking point. But this is good, right? This is the end of a cycle. It means that you are consciously acknowledging that things are too hard and that you need to make a change in some way, right? This dude's picked up all of these sticks because at some point in the past, when he came across all of these sticks, the benefit that he would incur from getting them all back to his house far outweighed the cost to him of getting them there in the first place, you know. But the road is long, he is tired, and he can barely walk anymore. You know, these are literally the sticks that broke his back. But with this card, I always get a sense that it's possible to do things better. Right? It's possible to do things in a more efficient way, because this isn't particularly efficient. Like, if he's really struggling that much, why doesn't he put the whole fucking bundle down, you know, halve it up and do 2 trips, you know, with a nice brew in between. Cut it into 3, you know, take 3 sticks back. Does he really even need 10 sticks? Did he only need 2? You know, like, there's a sense that it's doing things the hardest way possible. But because it's a 10, like, it's literally coming to an end. It has to stop. Something has to give. And there's a conscious acknowledgement of that being the case. And whether this is work, you know, whether this is the burden of all the work that you're holding on to, or whether it is the burden of whatever these two situations are here, right? And this could be trying to keep your shit together at home and having someone who is just, like, making your life really hard in the way that you communicate with them. There's loss here. There's no reciprocity in either of these cards. these people are out in the cold and they're abandoned. They've been shunned. They've been pushed out. This one here, this one's holding all the swords, and these have had to put them down and go away. Like, no reciprocity, right? So it brings it back to you and your conscious acknowledgement that this is too much. And the Chariot cards come out twice, which is all about the self, you know, the self-discipline, self-governance, self-determination, you know, the ability to focus your own internal energy in a particular direction. And you are so scattered at the moment that that's not happening. The final card that you've got is the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles, yet another Pentacle card, talks about working together with other people to make something that will last for a very long time, right? Usually there's a cathedral arch, and there's a mason working on it, and there's a couple of monks overseeing it, and they've got the plans, you know, they're working together to create this structure. But this one's slightly different, because this one, she's sat on her own, right? There is only one character in this card, but she's already created 3 pentacles. They're down here by her feet, and she's working away on something on her lap there. And there's a sense that I feel very strongly like this is you reaching out for assistance from someone, you know, just acknowledging that things are too hard and putting down this bundle. Is that you personally are reaching out? And there's a big web up here hanging off this tree up there. You know, maybe you're messaging someone and asking for assistance. But there's a sense here that you've been doing it all by yourself and you've taken on far too much. You're shouldering too much of the burden, and there are people around you who can help, but they may not have even realised that you are in the state that you're in. And I feel like this self-deception is what is occurring right up until the point where this energy hits at some point and you have this realisation. You're deceiving yourself that you can carry on indefinitely in this way, and you genuinely can't. It's time to put the sticks down. Tell me more about this Three of Pentacles, please. Right, we've only got one card, and it's the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands talks about swift incoming communication. It's you reaching out, is what it is. And there's such funny art on these cards. Like, look at these 2 people riding on the back of this naked man. Like, it feels like these are the people that are riding in to assist you when you reach out, when you acknowledge that things are too hard, when you acknowledge that you cannot do it all by yourself, and you reach out. You know, I think the fact that she's here by herself and she's got these pentacles down by her feet is... These people aren't going to come along and just do everything for you. I don't think that that's what it is. I think that they're just going to lift some of the burden for you so that you can carry on peacefully, because look how peaceful she is sat there, peacefully plodding along, like at a manageable, sustainable rate, while these other figures that you have reached out to come and assist, you know. Don't be so... It's not pride. I was going to say don't be so proud, but it absolutely isn't pride. It's the fact that it hasn't even occurred to you to reach out for help. That's what it is, because you haven't acknowledged the fact that you cannot do it all by yourself. And that's not an ego thing either. I think it's just because you're so used to being so self-reliant. You know, that your default point when everything starts to go to shit is to withdraw, is to try and do it all yourself, because you are the only person that you've been used to depending on. But what this says to me here is that there are people around you who will help. And you probably, if you sat down and thought about it for long enough, you know exactly who those people are. I wish this storm would fuck off, honestly. Like, ugh. So, let's get you some advice. I have 3 cards of advice for Cancer, please. The Eight of Wands has just flipped again there. Reach out to those people, yeah, because they genuinely, I don't think that they realise. Fucking hell, that just fell out. It's the Chariot again. I'm taking that as confirmation for everything that I've just said, because I can. I don't think that these people know how much you're struggling. And I think that the second that you do let them know, I think they'll be right there for you. Yeah, the moon is the card of Cancer for me, right? But it talks about understanding what's going on inside you. And at the moment, I think that you are so scattered. I think you're swirling around so much that you literally don't have the time to be still and let the answers come to the surface. Like you're just pinging from one situation to another, and there's been no stillness. There's no appreciation of what's going on underneath. And there's probably quite a lot going on underneath, I would think. 2 more cards for Cancer, please. I did wonder if that was going to turn. Oh my god, I'm not taking all of those, that's far too many. There we go. 7 of Swords again. Yeah. At the bottom of the deck now we've got the 6 of Wands, which talks about victory, right? It talks about doing things the right way and being applauded for it. And I feel like that's super relevant because, you know, you've got 2 major arcana out of the 3 cards that I've pulled down here. Right? This is you, this is your inner space, this is what's going on underneath that you haven't had time to stop and examine. But then we've got the Tower, which is the card of Scorpio, right? And Scorpio runs very deep as well. It's your sister water sign, right? They run very deep. But as these cards have come out, like on the table, the Tower sits directly under the 10 of Wands. And I feel like this acknowledgement that things are too hard probably isn't going to be, you know, happening while you're making yourself a cup of tea. I think that there might be a catalyzing event, maybe just one last thing that happens that makes you go and you just lose your shit. You know, you erupt like a volcano, you know, completely break down. Something. It's going to be quite a shock when it hits. But, you know, take some heart in the fact that this Tower needs to come down, because this misapprehension that you're labouring under, that you literally should be the one to do all of these things, is incorrect, right? And once this Tower falls, then you can rebuild. And we've got the 7 of Swords that's come out again, like self-deception. That's what I was talking about. Like, and the self-deception is this. It's this. That not only should you do all of these things, but you shouldn't ask for help. You know, it hasn't occurred to you to ask for help. But there's going to come a point, and it's coming very soon, where it's going to happen. You know, be kind to yourself, forgive yourself for nothing. Actually, you don't have anything to forgive yourself for, but you're going to feel like you've done something wrong, when actually you're just under such extraordinary stress that literally anyone would have exactly the same reaction. Like, and there's no way that you would sit back and watch somebody else suffer in that situation. So why do you think other people would do the same with you? You know, this will be a tremendous event, right? It's going to be pretty awful when it happens, but when it does, you're going to release a lot of steam, and you will be able to see things a little more clearly because you will have a bit more stillness, you know. And then reach out. Stop pulling the wool over your own eyes about this. You're not Superwoman. You shouldn't have to be, right? There are people around you who care for you and love you and would be absolutely distraught if they understood the extent to which you are suffering at the moment, right? And when you do that, in fact, you've got death directly underneath there, right? You know, things will transform for the better, right? Clear out all the old shit. Let the good stuff come in, and the good stuff is cooperating with other people. It's reaching out to other people for help. Right, I'm going to leave it there, Cancer. Best of luck to you. I hope your Tower moment isn't too catastrophic. Just remember to breathe. Right? And I'll see you soon.